The problem with the fox hunting bill is that it's bad legislation. I suppose only now that we've got drones is there any possibility of getting a realistic conviction. Because in the past, in order to prove that someone was intentionally hunting a fox, you would have to be with the hunt and therefore complicit in the action itself. And now it's revealed that Tony Blair put forward the fox hunting bill because he had received a £1 million donation, and this bill went through on 2004 following a huge demonstration that had absolutely no effect in dissuading the then Prime Minister. And it came, so Peter Mandelson said on the Times radio How to Win an Election, he said, I can offer you an example from 1997 where an organisation, it was a fund to do with the welfare of animals, got pretty transactional with us. It was the first and last time I remember it. They wanted a ban on hunting in return for a very sizable amount of money, and Blair and co were sort of reluctant, obviously, to enter into some sort of trade over the policy. However, there were a lot of people in the party who wanted that ban. There were a lot of MPs coming and demanding it, and we got into a difficult situation where, frankly, we went a little bit too far, further than Blair wanted, in making this commitment in our manifesto. It was, frankly, under not duress, but some sort of pressure. It wasn't attractive, and it's not been repeated. Well, so he thinks. I'm not so sure that the Rwanda deal is not something very similar to that. The Rwanda deal is about buddying up two friends who managed to put pressure on the government and the Home Office to do what was in their interests rather than the interests of the country. The interests of the country are not served by the Rwanda bill. The interests of the country were not served by the fox hunting bill. Though, arguably fox hunting was something that should have been discouraged, but whether the bill in its in the version that went through Parliament was effective or simply a lot of energy for restrictions that have damaged rural communities rather than saved foxes. I was living for a while on the edge of a stud farm, and so I was in a perfect position to observe the problems with foxes and the attempts to shoot foxes, which actually was extraordinarily dangerous. Because the people who were shooting would be shooting at incredibly low angles to the ground, and had I been walking through the grounds at that time, I would have been shot. And once or twice I thought, this is hair-raising, and if that's the only way to take out foxes in the absence of hunting with hounds, that's worrying. And we could hear the foxes at night regularly, and actually I quite like foxes, of course, but that's because I'm no longer a country person. I go into the country for pleasure, I suppose, and I think, oh, what lovely foxes! A very Disney understanding of the animal. I don't have to look after hens. I don't have to look after animals that are preyed upon by foxes or disturbed by foxes, and so yes, it's not part of my life. But because it's not part of my life, I shouldn't be restricting the lives of others. That's number one. And number two, far more importantly, is it effective? No.